this morning you spoke a little bit about Patanjali and said to use pain to go to the next level. I am asking for your help. How can one use pain to get to the next level? This is a nice question. Morning itself I answered. Just see, without labeling that as a pain, just look into that space. What is happening? I have spoken about this in the same pain to bliss meditation. When the pain disappears, even after that, just try to continuously penetrate that same zone. Let you be aware of that zone. Then suddenly you will see you are experiencing the boundaryless energy. See, you have your identity. You have an identity about yourself. If that identity is smaller than the physical body, you start feeling that pain. If that identity is equivalent to the physical body, you will have a comfortable, relaxed feeling. If that identity explodes and expands bigger than the physical body, you will feel ecstasy. When you close your eyes and remember your name, you will have an image about yourself. You will have your form. That's what I call your identity. If that identity is smaller than the physical body, you will have pains and feeling of suffocation. You will feel suffocated. In those areas you will feel suffocated. If that identity is equivalent size of your physical body, you will be comfortable with the body. If that identity expands, then your physical body, you will have bliss. Now, put your awareness wherever you have pain and remember you are unclutched. Suddenly you will see the identity expands. Expansion of identity is what I mean, boundaryless experience. You will enter into the different space of being unclutched. When you go into it, you will understand the truth of what I am saying. One more problem, unless you go into all these things, whatever I am saying is only words, will be words and words. When you go into it, you will understand the truth behind all these words. I want to be unclutched, but my wife wants to be clutched. How can you help me? Now you have to choose between Swami and wife. What to do? See, one thing, here you have given a small bracket. Want to enjoy with good things in life. You think being unclutched means not enjoying the good things in the life? No, that is where you are missing. Do not try to create the shaft or understanding that unclutching means something. Again you are creating one more shaft. Again you are creating one more shaft. The spiritual teaching means somehow the idea has entered into you, it is anti-life. Without even practicing, you are clear it is anti-life. It is not. When you start living in that unclutched way, you will understand every moment your life is only enriched. You are not giving up anything. I tell you, be unclutched. You will see you are fulfilling not only your wife's imaginations, you are just overflowing much more than that. One more thing, only when you are unclutched, you will have so much of space, you will be able to accommodate all our fantasies. You will be able to accommodate her being. You will have tremendous compassion for her. You will not feel suffocated by her. The only way to escape from wife is be unclutched. The one and only way to escape from the wife, because when you are unclutched, you will have so much of space in you. You will not feel suffocated by people. You will not feel suffocated by the expectations of somebody. You will have such a big space, not only you will be able to fulfill, you will have tremendous compassion. You know where they are suffering. See, when you know somebody is suffering at some point, you will not have violence. Only when you don't understand where he is suffering, he or she is suffering, you will have violence. Intelligence and compassion is one and the same. When you have intelligence where that person is suffering, you won't have violence. You will be able to accommodate that person in your inner space. You will have a different quality of your life, I tell you. Only when you relax, only when you unclutch yourself, you will understand. When you are unclutched, you will not get irritated. You will not be moved. That person may get irritated. You will not get irritated. Your very energy will be totally different. If the shaft is created by our mind, an identity, what is the purpose of mind or identity? Only you have to know the purpose. How will I know? Only you will know the purpose of the mind or identity. What you think you want to achieve in the world, that is the purpose. If you want to become a doctor, doctor. If you want to become a lawyer, lawyer. If you want to do something, that is the purpose of your identity. But the problem is, it is you who is creating. Swamiji, my pranams to you. I am confused when you say not to create shaft of joy, and when you say bless us to lead a life of Nitya Ananda or bliss eternally. Be very clear. When you don't create the shaft of joy, only you will have Ananda. Joy is a part-time Ananda. If you create shaft out of Ananda, you will create joy. If you relax from the shaft of Ananda, you will be in bliss. Please understand, joy and Ananda are not one and the same. They are opposite to each other. If you try to create a shaft out of Ananda, you will try to possess that and make it as joy. If you relax from the shaft of joy and don't bother about it, don't want to prolong, suddenly you will be in the space of bliss. You will be in the space of bliss. Understand difference between Ananda and joy. Another doubt, how do I not confuse the state of doing nothing with a sense of lack of responsibility or defeatist attitude? See, the idea, the defeatist attitude, lack of responsibility and all, now only your mind is picking up just to defend yourself. Even if it is lack of responsibility and defeatist, let you be unclutched for a few days. You will understand. If you are unclutched, you will not have the tamas in you. You will not have tamas in you. Mentally you will be silent, but physically you will be active and alive. When you are in the space of lack of responsibility or defeatist, mentally you will be very active, you will not be silent. Physically you will be tired. When you are unclutched, physically you will be active and alive, mentally you will be silent. There is a big difference between tamas and sattva. In both space you are silent, but totally different. When you enter into when you relax and try to be unclutched, you will understand. You see, whenever you remember this unclutch, you are unclutched, that itself will give you such an inner healing, such big relief that you don't have to do anything. Actually, there is nothing to be done, and there is nothing can be done. You can try. Nothing can be done. When you accept, when you come to that understanding, suddenly you feel the inner healing happening in you. You are becoming a different being, different person. Only then you will understand how to be alive, active, without entering into the defeatist attitude. With the understanding, you will never be a defeatist. These are all few words which your mind creates to protect yourself from this truth. Even if it is defeatist, it's okay, let you be unclutched. Then you will understand the truth of these words. In one of your talks, you mentioned TPS. It's lowering the thoughts per second. One of the ways to break the shaft. So meditation is the main way to achieve dhyana. Who is the person who put this question? Be very clear. Now you are not connecting me with Buddha or Krishna. You are connecting me with your identity which you have about me in the past. You heard the teachings. Have you become enlightened? No. Now you are connecting that with this so that you can dump the both in the same dustbin. Do not create. Now come to this moment. Either get help from these words or at least understand you are not being helped. Let us be very clear. Either you are helped or not helped. Let us not connect with this. Let us not connect these teachings, these words with some of my past teachings and put the both in same file and put it in one corner of your mind so that you can outlive me. Outsourcing joke. An American outsourced his job to an Indian IT by paying 30% of his salary and instructed his outsourced employee to do new mistakes so he can preserve his job. Who is the person? Yes. Anyhow, new mistakes so that he can preserve his job. When a person feels that they are not their body and can thank their body for letting them use it. What is this? When you thank your body for transporting you. Really you will feel grateful to the body and you will feel completely comfortable with your body. Who wrote this question? This question? First intelligent question. In this whole series, first intelligent question. I think you really understood. You have done the first session. If you really do the first session, you will come to this experience. You will feel completely comfortable and grateful to the body. If you have not felt the gratitude towards the body, you have not done the first session. Be very clear. Still you carry the irritation in you. When you feel so blissful in the body, inside the body, you will feel so happy, so homely with this whole system, you won't feel lonely at all in your life. Constantly you will be feeling homely. You won't feel lonely. Feeling of loneliness or feeling of need for the other person will have, you will have that feeling for the need, you will feel the need for the other person only when you are not comfortable with your body. If you are completely comfortable with your body, you will never feel the need for the other person. Even if you have to share yourself with the other person, you will be overflowing. You will not be demanding. You will not be begging. You will be just overflowing. If you are feeling the need for the other person, be very clear, you are not comfortable with your body. You are not ease with your body. If we could attain enlightenment through, I am not able to understand, read, through Krishna or Jesus, etc. Why do we need a living master? Thank you. Who is the person who put the question? If you can achieve enlightenment through Krishna or Jesus, you don't need living master. The big problem, even with a living master, you are not able to achieve. What are you going to do with the masters who don't have the body? People come and ask me, Swamiji, can you teach me how to connect with the ascending masters or how to talk to the great masters and get their teachings? I tell them, directly I am speaking in the language which you understand. That itself is not helping you. How are you going to be helped with somebody who is not going to speak in the same language in which you are able to understand? So be very clear. If you can achieve enlightenment with Krishna or Mahavir or Jesus, you don't need enlightenment, living master. But usually this never happens. How would you approach Christian person to accept meditation? I don't approach anybody to accept meditation. It is up to them. It is telling my family about my practicing meditation. How do I tell them without hurting their feelings? Only you have to design. I don't know. I have not yet created any mechanism for it. Maybe you can slowly show the transformation which you are having in your life. Maybe by seeing the transformation which you are having, which you are expressing in your life, they will be inspired. The only way is to show in your life to inspire them. That is the only way. If meditation is not the channel to spiritual enlightenment, then why should we meditate? What exactly are we supposed to do? Meditation is channel for enlightenment. I don't say meditation is not the channel, but when I say the word meditation, being unclutched, not getting caught with one more shaft. If the meditation creates one more shaft, be very clear, you will not be getting enlightenment. If we are not the bodies, how do we feel the pain of the body and fear of losing the body? And if karma theory is not right, how do we transmigrate? Two things. I don't say you are not the body. You are not the body should become experience in you, not the theory given to you. The second thing, whether karma theory is not right. If the karma theory is not right, again, I don't say karma theory is not right. It is not complete. It can't answer all the logical questions. It can't stand a sharp logic. It can stand to do business, but not to understand for yourself. People come and ask me, actually, a small incident really happened. One boy was brought to me by the mother, and the mother is telling me, Swamiji, please tell him, he is not listening to my words, please tell him to obey me. I said, how can I tell? I myself never obeyed my mother. I ran away from the house. My mother tried her best, but I ran away from the house. I myself never obeyed. How can I say, obey your mother? But you know, women are women. She was very adamant. No, you have to insist, you have to tell. Please tell him, he has to listen, he has to obey me. Then I called him, see, why don't you obey your mother? See, I am obeying. I myself, I am obeying her. Why don't you also obey her? And listen to whatever she says. This guy asked me straight away, Swamiji, she herself is not happy. If I follow her, I will also become like her only. Why are you asking me to obey her? Why are you asking me to follow her? I was shocked. Somehow I convinced him, but I am not convinced. Same way, I can use karma theory to convince somebody, but I am not convinced. Karma theory is a beautiful way to give healing. See, at some point, human beings need some consolation, some healing, some effort. For that, beautiful. For society, karma theory is really beautiful. It can give a healing effect. It can give a big comfort feeling, but not for the seekers. Not for the seekers. The beautiful word in Kathopanishad. It's like walking on the razor's edge. Shurasya dara vishitani kecha. It is not for the people who are the seekers of truth. At least not for the people who have come up to the level of Dhyana Spurana. For a society, it's a good idea. You can see there's an interview in India Post. I accepted the karma theory and spoke about that in India Post. For public, it is good. It gives you inner healing effect, and you don't have to suffer too much, torture yourself too much, and lot of psychiatric problems will be avoided. You will be more balanced and less depressed. For all those things, karma theory is okay. But ultimately, when you start seeing the truth, that doesn't hold good. With the sharpest logic, when you penetrate, that doesn't hold good. That's what I mean, Swamiji, when I say karma theory. So the only way to transmigrate is just unclutch. Unclutch, and all the concept of pain, pleasure, I am saying flood everything with truth. Let everything be flooded away. Let you be completely flooded by the truth. The concept of joy and bliss, if it exists, only then the karma theory holds good. Because karma is all about bringing more joy and less pain. But I am saying even that idea is a lie. You are constantly connecting and creating. So when even that idea is a lie, you will not be driven towards joy, or you will not be driven away from pain. Those concepts will start losing meaning for you. You will start living in a different space. So, did not Krishna and Buddha advocate the theory of karma? They might be giving interview to like India Post. You understand? They would have been giving interview to that time India Post. So that is the reason they would have advocated. So, one more thing, when I speak to the public, the truth has to be told in a different way. But when I speak to the seekers, especially when I wanted to say the ultimate truth, it has to be explained in a clear way. It's just the levels of understanding. I am not against the first level, but when I have to say the ultimate truth, I have to completely pull down the whole structure. Only then you will be awakened to hear the truth. Then the truth can be given to you. If it is so,